And I'm with the Center for Disability Empowerment. We are a 501c3 organization. We are a non-residential independent living center, one of 12 in Ohio, and we do operate separately. We currently serve Franklin, Union, Delaware, and Licking County, Ohio. But as you know, with these Zooms, we kind of have no boundaries. So hopefully people who are joining us today will be blessed by this time and could use the information that our speaker, Selena Miller, will present. Please, I'm going to ask you to please mute yourselves. Ms. Miller is being gracious about allowing us to interrupt her as she speaks, to ask questions. She loves to answer questions and connect with people.
On a meeting, huh?
Also,
do you want to spend money for pizza?
Okay, we can. Yeah, we can meeting.
You said no?
Share my screen.
A mini meeting.
Hmm?
I said a mini meeting.
Okay, you don't call them your name. They can't hear you.
Good thing they saying to somebody, please mute your background.
Somebody what?
Please mute your background.
If you need help with the mute, if you look on the bottom of your screen, you'll see on the far left what it looks like a speaker. Go ahead and just click your speaker off. Thank you. All right. So we're here tonight to talk about something near and dear to my heart, just how to connect moms, caregivers together for support. And I have been so blessed to meet so many wonderful women in Cleveland area. And so our speaker is just one of the people, and you all know who you are. This is being put on by a grant from the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities with the grant called the Ohio Family Network. It has also included the Charting the Life course as tools that are offered to help families and individuals with IDD to reach out to a good life. I love the tools. I am an ambassador and for Ohio. And we are going to basically work with the idea of the trajectory, which means you start with you. And if you have a goal which you want to start a women's support group, then that would be your goal. And hopefully Selena can give you some ideas on how to plan towards that goal. I am with the Center for Disability Empowerment, and I am a transition coordinator and a Charting the Life ambassador. Gonna go ahead and move past these slides. So I want to introduce Miss Selena Miller. I met her through another friend in the Cleveland area. You know how women are, we all like to connect and learn new things. Selena was a recent recipient of the National Nurses Coalition Unsung Heroes Award, is a visionary, a trailblazer, a philanthropist, and co-authored a book, We Dare Be Brave, with two other amazing mothers. Her dedication to service is one of the qualities that draws people to her. Selena's passion for service emerged with the birth of her son, Elijah, who has multiple disabilities, including autism. Her love for family and fervent desire to positively impact others' lives and advocate for individuals with special needs and their parents inspired her to create the service organization Mother to Mother in 2017. She dedicated her life to bringing education, empowerment, awareness to communities while providing support to special needs families. Being raised by a mother who was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia when Selena was only 12 years old, fostered compassion and empathy that she carries with her to this day and allows her to serve with kindness and sensitivity. Selena is proud to serve as a parent representative on Ohio State Support Team 3 and as a member of the University Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital Patient and Family Partnership Council. That's a lot, Selena. Selena has also worked for Milestones Autism Resources as the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Coordinator moderated for straight from the source parent and the self-advocate panel, and facilitated educational training for police officers on how to offer safe interaction with individuals with autism, and training for students on how to safely interact with first responders in the community. She is currently the program director for Josiah's House, an adult day program in the Cleveland area. But most importantly, she is a loving mother to her sons, Elijah, age 16, and Eric, age 20. She is happily married to her husband, Robert, for 5 years. Okay, so Selena, I'm going to pass this on to you, your screen, and let's give me to stop the share. I hope I did this right.
Thank you, Deb. I appreciate it. I got to update that bio too, because I've been married now 7 years. Eric will be 22 on Thursday, and Elijah will be 18 in August. So I got to update.
Oh my goodness.
Deb, it's always a pleasure. I met Deb through one of the parents who is actually on this call with us, Patricia Parker, and Deb and I actually did a training for churches on disability friendly in the church. So Deb and I work together on projects, and we're just talking about future projects. I love Deb. I love her heart. I love what she does for the community. So Deb, I appreciate you inviting me on again. Again, my name is Selena Miller, and disclaimer, my son Elijah is at home. So he may walk into the room and want to say hello. He does love Zoom calls. And because we've been in a pandemic and this has been my life, I don't stop him. I don't cause that stress for myself nor for him. So you may get an opportunity to meet Elijah if he feels as though he wants to step into the room. So I am going to first figure out how to share my screen. It's been a while, so let's see if this will do it. Let's see, is this the presenter mode? I never used Canva for presentation before, but this will be something new. Okay, so as Deb said, we are here just for me to provide some tips on creating a minority caregiver support group. I'm here to tell you now, I'm no professional. I am no special person out here with special powers or anything. I'm just a mom. I'm just a mom who started off this journey alone with 2 kids, one that was 4 years old at the time, and Elijah was born. And he was born with congenital glaucoma. I was only 23, 24 years old. And really, I had no clue about the things that he was going through. He was born with a disability. He had many eye surgeries, and along the years, the months, I noticed that Elijah was not hitting milestones as his older brother, like walking, like any of those things that a baby would do. I knew that something was happening, something was different. And so I just sought out his doctor, his nurse, and started to express what I was seeing or not seeing in Elijah. At the age of maybe 18 months, he was diagnosed with developmental disability. He just started walking at 18 months. He didn't start crawling till 9 months. He didn't talk until he was at the age of 5. And again, I had a 4-year-old running around along with Elijah, and I was young. So I was never told what resources like Help Me Grow came out to the house. They did an amazing job with showing me things. They got me connected to an IEP rather early. But as far as support groups, as far as communities of other parents like myself, I had no clue in the beginning who those people were. I just kind of went around to talking to teachers, getting to know professionals that began to show me different things. This is my Elijah. This picture is old. He is now 5'11", 215 pounds. This picture was maybe 4 years ago, but he is the driving force behind Mother to Mother. I built relationships with teachers, school districts, school staff, and that was how I got a lot of my resources. But I still felt like I was by myself, which was crazy because even with him being at a regular public school, there were other kids in his class. He's in a special education class even now. So you would think that we would connect, but I don't think for us in our community, it was ever really, said that, hey, we should lock arms and we should walk this journey together. We were just parents just trying to make it, right? We went to work, we took care of our kids, we came home, and nobody really told us or talked to us about the importance of community or us working together on this journey. So in 2017, I was working at a mega church here in Cleveland, Ohio, and I noticed that this being a mega church of thousands of people, I could only count on one hand how many individuals with disabilities and their families that I could say I knew. And I knew that something was wrong with that picture. Like that couldn't possibly be. There has to be more. And I'll never forget the day one of our elders came to me and said, look, it's time. It's time for you to start this support group. It's time for you to put this amazing resource out there and draw in families and let them know that here at the church, they are not alone. And so Mother to Mother was birthed in August of 2017. And we started our first support group. We got the flyers, the information out, and I was so excited because the very first support group meeting, we had about 6 or 7 moms who are still with me to this day, which is amazing. I call them the core group. We had grown this thing together, supported one another in some of our most trying times. We never once judged each other for how we were feeling. There are some days where you're just like, hey, I'm not feeling this. I'm mad. I don't want to be on this journey. This journey is stupid. It's hard. And we were able to kind of discuss that with one another. When Elijah started to develop health problems, they would be at the hospital, on my phone, text messages, the whole nine. So from there, the group just kind of grew. We spread out into the community where we were hosting meetings on the west side of Cleveland. We began hosting support group meetings at our local library, as well as the church, just to let people know that they are not alone. So now I'm in a place, right? We're almost 5 years in, coming this summer. We are now officially a 501c3, and my ultimate goal for Mother to Mother is for it to be a standing organization, a standing ministry, that even when God tells me, hey, it's time for me to move you to your next assignment, Mother to Mother is still a resource for communities. I don't want it to fall by the wayside. So it's funny that Deb called me about this, because I started reaching out to parents in other cities and states to begin to say, hey, what would you think about starting a Mother to Mother or your own support group in your own city and state? Like I say, I'm nobody special. I just heard the Lord say, hey, through a loved one, that it's time. And I just moved and acted. No money I had at the time. There was no special resources, no nothing. It was me. It was a couple of printouts, and it was my heart for the Lord and the heart for my son in this community. So the first thing, if we want to talk about how do you begin to even think about starting a minority support group, and I'm still learning this now, discovering the needs of our minority families, because they're all different. One thing that I noticed is I tried to start a more, and I'm not sure of the proper verbiage, so forgive me, but more of a Hispanic-based support group. But I learned from some of my friends that they're more private people, that group settings are not really something that some of their culture may really be into, but that they're more of a one-to-one type culture, which is great, because then you know how to service those families. But then we have those who love the support group aspect of it. And one thing that I would say is a lot of people don't like the word support group, that when they think about support group, they think about therapy. They think about professional therapy and sitting around in a circle, crying and bawling your eyes out with somebody that's leading the group. Yeah, you can have a support group like that, but it doesn't have to be like that. Yeah, we started off like that. We started off around a conference table, just us, and we got to know each other and we talked, but you don't necessarily have to have that as the way that you do it. You guys can meet at the park with your kids. You can meet up and have like ladies' night out. We've done plenty of those. So to get you started, a couple types of support groups that I've learned over the time is social support, spiritual support, informational support, and tangible support. And we'll just go through just a few of them briefly. Again, feel free to ask any questions that you may have in the midst. Comment. I like interaction. I do a lot of interaction. So if you guys want to jump in at any time, feel free. So when we talk about a social support group, that could be meeting monthly, whether it's in person or virtual. As we know, the pandemic was rough, but one of the good things about the pandemic is it allowed us to still meet on a virtual platform. You can do Zoom, you can do, what else do they have out here? Google Meets, you can do Facebook Live, Instagram, TikTok. I mean, you name it, there's a platform out here. So even if you're not feeling comfortable with meeting in person, virtual is a great way to go. When the pandemic hit, we went from meeting in person to immediately moving to an online platform. Immediately. And we wanted to meet the needs because at that time of the pandemic, we knew that parents were frantic. School shut down. There was no sitter. There was no going to work. And we knew that parents were going to begin to be in an anxious place. So we started having support group meetings weekly for at least about a month, just so that we can be there as a support, a sounding board, to help give resources and things like that. Again, social support is also like a mom and caregiver night out. We did movie theater nights where we had dinner or lunch and then we went to the movies. We've had a couple of different caregiver night outs, and that gives us an opportunity to bond. It gives us an opportunity to not necessarily always have to talk about our children, but gives us the opportunity to just be a woman or a man or just a mom or a caregiver, building friendships. And so we did quite a few caregiver and mom night out. We've even went out of town together. I think our last trip in like maybe a month or maybe a couple months, maybe almost a year ago, we went to Canada. We just loaded up in the car and we went to Canada and we had a great time. Taylor Richards, yes, we love the movies, Taylor. We love the movies. And we have this great movie theater where there's a restaurant. So you were able to eat and watch the movie and just have a great time. So yes, I love the movies too. We do a lot of family-friendly events. Of course, because of COVID, that slowed us down, but we would go to the zoo together with our child or adult. We have been to Florida together as families. We have something that I have called Artism, which is a arts and crafts event where the parents, their children, or the caregiver and their loved one come together and we paint and we have dinner or lunch. And it's just a nice time for one, the parents can get together, but two, we create a space for our kids/adult to be social. So that Patricia's on here, and I always say that Patricia's son, Matthew, and my Elijah are like best friends. Because of mother to mother, our relationship cultivated to where our son's relationship cultivated. And just because they may have their different way of communicating, they definitely know each other. They go to the movies, they've been out of town together, they've done a lot. So this builds their social skills, but it also creates a sense of family and community around our kids. And then you could provide one-to-one support. So something that I'm learning new in this season is that our social media platforms have a lot of parents, but we don't necessarily see a lot of them as far as engagement. So God had put it on my heart to start reaching out individually to parents and just kind of saying, hey, Mother to Mother is here for you. How can we support you? What do you need? If there's anything that we can, offer as far as resources. And the response has been amazing. Sometimes people don't feel comfortable in group settings. Sometimes they feel more comfortable with just speaking to another parent one-to-one. And then over time, it builds their confidence and encourages them to maybe want to join a larger group. So also think outside of the box as to how you can support families. It could be one-to-one or it can be group, either or. We also have spiritual support. So I am a believer, period. I believe in the Most High God. Again, like I said, Mother to Mother started inside of the church. And this list could have been longer, but for the sake of this webinar, I wasn't going to put everything, including social support. I have so many other things I can add. But how can we offer spiritual support? Through prayer. During the pandemic, we had a women's Bible study that lasted 10 months. We would meet every Saturday morning or every month on a Saturday, and we would study sections of the Bible. So we would have Bible study, we would pray with each other. During the pandemic, some of us lost people in our lives. I lost my mom, I lost my daughter. A lot of people lost loved ones during the pandemic. So that spiritual support along with the social support was very important during that time. Another spiritual support component is home visits for those who may be shut in. The church call it the sick and shut in. I don't like to call it sick and shut in, but they could be shut in, meaning that the loved one may not be able to get out of the house for whatever, or the parent may not be able to get out. Being able to maybe make a visit, drop off a card, letting a person know that you care, bring communion at the beginning of the month, or even come by to say, hey, I just want to pray for you. So there's a lot that we learned about the extending of outreach in our church for our families. And this is a great way to do so, whether it's coming by and sitting on the porch and just having a conversation with the parent, whether it's hosting something in the backyard for families, like they can't leave their home or whatever, or group home, but bringing those resources to them. And then, of course, this is something that we are, between Deb, Patricia, myself, and others, working on creating an inclusive environment for individuals with disabilities and their families in the church. We strongly believe that individuals with disabilities and their families are a part of the body of Christ. We work together to ensure that we provide resources and support and education to churches who may not be inclusive right now, and just helping families to get connected. So these are two so far of the types of support that you can offer. Tangible support. And I only put two here, but there are a lot more that we could probably talk about some other time. But tangible support, sometimes maybe a person's not looking for social. Maybe they have a social network. Maybe they're not looking for spiritual. They already have a spiritual network, but maybe they're looking for something more tangible. That can be respite services. That can be if you're an independent provider and they may need respite. If you are a part of a church family that offers respite, this could be something that somebody that needs tangible support is looking for. Same thing with outreach. Something I think we've also learned during the pandemic, or even I know when my son was in the hospital, having people that'll say, hey, what does your family need? Like I still had a husband and a son and a granddaughter that was at home. How about we make dinner and take it to them? So that's not something you have to think about. Or, hey, can I pick up medication for your child for you and drop it off? Extending, again, that outreach piece was very helpful during the pandemic. Yeah, Deb, I saw your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think another tangible idea for support is if you're a neighbor to a family who may have a person with special needs and they have other children, and let's say their child is medically fragile, there are some nights when an emergency happens and that family has to get everyone packed up in the car, out of the bed and what have you, it to possibly, if you've been vetted, if you're a safe person, offer to let the other children still sleep at home or come over to their house. Another thing I thought of is after school, a lot of people have therapy session and they have their typical children with them and it's very boring for them. Why not offer to watch, have the typical kids remain home and watch movies or play while their sibling is getting support. Just some different ideas.
That's good, Deb. Is there anybody that has any questions or any comments right now? Please, again, feel free. You can type them in the chat or you can unmute and ask a question. This is an interactive conversation. I hate just talking because I don't know if you're getting it. I don't know if it's something else you want to know. So again, please jump in.
One other thing I heard, Selena, is that there is a community-wide respite where it happens maybe at one church location, but community of churches are working together to support that idea. Ashland Special Needs Ministry, that's where I heard of this idea. I'm hoping to hear more about it in the future. But, if they had one place where a family could go and, that maybe they'll get other support from local churches. Imagine churches working together.
And it's funny you said that, Patricia and I think I want to say we were tossing it around last summer about creating networks of different churches. So maybe on once quarterly, 2 or 3 different churches can offer respite one at a time. And while that one church is offering respite, then another church comes and volunteers. So you always have a steady flow. So that's definitely a good idea. And that's another way of supporting the families. Taylor, what's respite? Respite is, we call it like our self-care relief, meaning that you can have what's called an independent provider or a family member can come to your home and care for your child while you may get out and go to a movie, or you may just go out and do something for yourself. There are also organizations and churches that offer respite care. I know Bay Presbyterian Church here in Cleveland, Ohio, offers respite care 3 times a year, where you can sign up, you can come to the church, you drop off your child with trained professionals, nurses on staff, and they do wonderful activities with them while you get a break. Go get your hair done, your nails done. They do it for a couple of hours, go see a movie. And so that's what a part of what respite care is.
I thought of another thing that I did once. We had what we called the boardroom, and that's BOARD. And we had it once every 3 months, where parents could have 3 hours to themselves, and they drop off their children and we'll play either board games, karaoke, we'll share a meal together. But that allows the parents to have a date night. So that was a really easy thing to put together and well received.
And that's actually something that we would love to be able to extend, partnering with other churches, like I said, to be able to offer that, especially in those minority communities where resources are extremely lacking. This is one great resource to offer families. Again, just to give them that moment to breathe and have a break. And like I said, whether it's the movies or whatever you want to go do, you can have that time. So tangible support also with outreach is like we were saying, just offering to go and pick up a meal for the family, especially like my neighbors are 90 years old and we have a sign in our yard that says, I have a loved one with autism, and their son will come to our house and ask us, is there anything that we need? Because we do things for their 90-year-old parents. And so it's that type of thing. That's where community comes in, where people can offer to do things to support you. Let's see, Taylor says, I don't have kids, but sometimes I do need a long time. I think we all need a long time, Taylor. I think a long time is extremely, extremely important for everybody. So there's other things if you can think of. Let's see, can you let us know? Oh, Taylor says she don't have any kids. Are you a caregiver, Taylor? Do you work in the field with special needs? So while she's doing that, can anybody else list some tangible supports that could be helpful for a family? An example I had read one time was like going to borrow sugar from a neighbor. Like those are tangible supports that we can do. You could type any answers. Okay, you don't? That's all right. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome anyway. We're glad to have you. Feel free to type anything in the chat or ask any questions. So here's another one that
I had a tangible support.
Okay, what you got, Ms.
Selena? You know, sometimes we forget the siblings of individual with disabilities. So sometimes it's a great idea, maybe just to take out the siblings and give them an opportunity to go somewhere where the individual with disability isn't really taking the focus from the parent, and they get a little one-on-one time. You know, sometimes siblings, especially, you know, young boys, they may need a male role model, and even girls, they may need someone as a friend just to hang out with them. So just kind of focusing on the siblings and families, that can be a tangible support too.
That's good, Miss Pat, because we both have other children. My oldest son is 22, and I want to say Justin is 20. Is he 29 or is he 31 now?
Justin's in his 30s.
Yes. So they're older, right? A lot of these things we're learning now as we're in this work, but I wish I had known that for Eric when he was even younger, to have somebody that would say, hey, a mentor, a big brother, say, hey, let me take Eric out to hang out, to have pizza, to go to the amusement park or things like that. So that's another tangible support, is having somebody to say, hey, I know that they have a sibling. Let me, you know, see if I can support in that area. That's good, Ms. Pat. That's definitely a tangible support.
Hey, thanks, Pat, for mentioning that. I'm a sibling, and I know what it's like to be dragged to therapy and those kind of things. One thing we did for our families at church when we had a mom's Bible study, we had childcare at the same time, and we had a sibling outreach. So it's like a 3-stop shop, you know, so parents are going all over the place. It's in the same building. The childcare was in the next room in case we had an emergency or whatever. And then we had someone reach out to the typical sibling. So it really worked out great. I actually had someone with a counseling background help me with that. And how we set it up for the siblings is we had 3 good surprises and 3 different times of where they would talk, because surprises for siblings are typically not good. So it really worked out well.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Deb. Yes, sibling support is extremely needed, because the siblings oftentimes take the back seat. Because of the loved one with the disability, a lot of our attention is focused on their care, because their care can be ongoing daily. And if they have any medical complications, a lot of our focus is there. And so unfortunately, the sibling kind of misses out on a lot of the support that they need from the parent. And they fall through the cracks. They really do. So having a tangible support system for siblings is it's dire, it's needed, very much so. So thank you, Ms. Pat and Deb, for shining a light on that. So yes, that's tangible support. One other support that I'll list today is called informational support. So what's informational support? That's resources, education, those type of resources. Sometimes that's all parents need. They need to be in a place where they can get the proper tools that they need. So that can be news articles, that can be blogs, social media posts that shares information. That could be any YouTube videos. We shared a number of YouTube videos
The
on
whole theme song.
how to do
I heard.
different.
No, is it funny?
We've definitely done that. Can you guys do me a favor and just mute your microphone so that everybody is able to hear? Thank you. Webinars like this. This is information that I just shared 5 different times on social media in all my social media groups. Why? Because there could be a parent or a caregiver out there that this information is useful to them. We share a lot of workshops information, who's having a workshop, and those types of things, so that parents can sign up for that type of stuff. Hold on one second. Okay, Elijah was at the door. I had to make sure everything was okay. But yeah, so workshops. When is the next workshop for milestones or conferences and things like that? We share that information via email, phone calls, word of mouth. Those things are very helpful for parents. It allows them to learn things. It allows them to have tangible resources that they can go back and use at home. So those types of things are great. So also we have webinars. I do a lot of webinars, a lot of webinars. So I share that information with families. I share them with a lot of the organizations that I'm connected to, so that other families can receive this information. The greatest thing on this journey is the knowledge that you pick up, the knowledge that you get that helps you to be able to go through this journey of raising a child, or if you're a guardian, or if you're a caregiver, this information is vital to be able to do those things. And we share a lot of organizations that offer these resources. So like I said, the Center of Disability Empowerment, Milestones Autism Resources, Connecting for Kids, Autism Speaks, Mother to Mother, all different types of organizations. People come and they're looking for those type of resources so that they can connect and again, find therapists or doctors or physicians, eye doctors, things like that. So some people are just looking for informational support. And another thing is books to read. We share a lot of books. We will post books in our groups. We will read a book and we will share a book, especially if we know that we learned a lot from the book. So we do a lot of books to read or magazines that also have helpful tips. So those are some informational support. Does anybody have any questions, or do you have ideas about informational support or anything that you want to share?
Are you going to tell us about the book that you 3 authored?
Yes, Ms. Davis. So when we talk about books, Patricia Parker, that is here on the line, myself, and another woman, Nikki Montgomery, we decided, oh, it'll be a great idea to write a book. No, that's not how it really went, but that's how it ended up. We actually had a different idea. And then as we continued to brainstorm, we wrote a book called We Dare Be Brave. It is on Amazon, and it's African-American moms and the emotional journey of raising children with disabilities. This book is a very, I would say we poured our souls into this book. It's not techie, so you don't need a encyclopedia or dictionary to be able to understand what's in the book. And each one of us shared our emotional journey. We were very vulnerable, very transparent, and sharing what it is that we experienced on this journey. We have been told that this book has blessed a lot of people. It has given them confidence. It has reinforced that they are not alone, and that they learned a lot of tips from the book. We still get opportunities to speak. We've presented at conferences on this book. It is available on Amazon, and I can share the link. We even have a study guide that goes with it. And let's see, what's the name? Oh, okay, she said, Heather said, what's the name of the book? Yes, it's called We Dare Be Brave. I see a hand up. Hey, a question, please unmute.
Yes, this is Michael. Could you possibly send the link to my email address? I registered with this webinar it was like last week or so. That'd be great if you could email me the study guide.
Okay, well, I can send it over to Deb. Deb, you have all the email addresses, so I will send the link to the book, and I will also send over the PDF of the guide that was created for the book. Yep, I definitely.
Awesome. Now, now with the book, is this book available? So your A lady can read it to you, since I'm blind myself.
Oh, that's a good. I know it's on Amazon, and I'm not sure how they go about as far as making sure that that's that it can be read back to you. I know that a lot of people have downloaded an electronic copy, but that's a great question. I can look into it and get back to Deb and let you know how it's all available.
Awesome, because I know a lot of times, like where I work, Western Reserve Independent Living Center, we have a monthly book recommendation in our newsletter. So who knows? I mean, one of these days we have to put the title of that book in there one of these days. That might help some people.
Well, that would be a blessing. I will definitely make sure to get all that information over to Deb, and that would be great. And if you do get a chance to read it, please let us know what you think.
Michael, who are you working with?
Western Reserve Independent Living Center.
Oh, another independent living center. Awesome.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Well, welcome. Thank you for your question. Anybody else have a question, comment, concern? Okay, remember, you can ask them in the chat. I'll make sure to put the link to the book in the chat. You can please share it as a resource. It's definitely a wonderful resource for families. So far, our three or our different types of support that you can offer once you find out what the need of the group or the groups or cultures that you're trying to reach, or the community that you're trying to build, those that are in your community, how you want to structure it. You'll get to learn over time what works best. It was trial and error. So first I thought it was this, and when it wasn't that, and it changes too. So you'll kind of you'll figure out a flow as to what parents need. A lot of it is more of the social support. And that's just because this journey is lonely, and not too many people understand what it is that we face on a day in, day out basis, good, bad, or indifferent. Sometimes people just don't get it. But when you are amongst a group of moms or families that get it, it's an amazing feeling. And I've grown so much being around these women. I thought that I was starting a group for them, but I think I more so started it for me, because I've learned more from these women that I've been with over this last almost 5 years that I've learned from a book. Or from a resource, because it's nothing like the experience that somebody has. And everybody's experience is different, but it's definitely different, and it holds weight when you're hearing from parents about resources that worked for them. And when they share that and you kind of reach out to get that information. Let's see, no, all good. Okay, I'm just looking in the chat. Will you share where you started and what evolved and why evolved after that? Will I share where I started as far as when Mother and Mother, how that started? Well, yeah, it started at the church. That's what I was talking about. It started at the church that I was at. There was no support group, no nothing there. And so I stepped out on faith and just was listening to God and just said, hey, I'm going to start this group and we'll see who shows up. And it just started that way with 6 or 7 women. I think we ended up going to 10 or 11, but you know, people come and go due to different seasons. And then it just evolved into a community over the years. We developed friendship. We turned into a family, from text messages to emails to sharing events to coming to each other's children's birthday parties and being at the hospital when somebody's child wasn't feeling well. So over time, it just evolved into a community, which is something that a lot of us desperately need, because the first thing when you get a diagnosis is that you look towards your blood relatives, your family, to be that support that you need. And sometimes they can't because they don't understand. And that's okay. That's okay. We just have a tendency to go to our family first out of expectation. And as you go on this journey, you just realize that sometimes not even your family will understand. And so that's why it's important to seek out your tribe, as we say in the book, or to find your tribe of people. I know for myself personally, different areas and different places in my life, I have a community for. So I have a community, special needs. I have my spiritual community. I have a community for grief and loss. All of these people play a major role in my life and how I grow. And so I hope that Mother to Mother does the same for others. Just be that community, that safety net for others. And that's what you want to create. You want to create a community. You do. You want to create a community and a family that people feel safe. It says, when did you go to the Facebook format and the do's and don'ts? So Facebook I did immediately after I started Mother to Mother. So it was like simultaneously. I started Mother to Mother and then I created a Mother to Mother page because social media was a big way to reach people, a big way to communicate with people. Some of the do's and don'ts. You really have to just set guidelines when you're dealing with social media. Sometimes you get people that can be judgmental, and it could offend or hurt someone that will cause them to leave the group. You have to also make sure that you are posting reputable, vetted information, not just hearsay. Now, if you post something that another parent says worked for them, you should make sure that that's stressed. Like, this is just something that worked for a parent that they'd like to share, but not that it is something that, hey, I know this is going to work for your child. So you have to be careful of the type of information that you post, and that it's been vetted, and that it has, the research has been done for some things, because you just don't want to lead somebody astray, where somebody goes to try something and it harmed their child. And then they come back and say, well, I got this information from your Facebook page. So you just got to be careful. Experience is good sometimes because you can help someone else out of that might not know what you are going through yet, or they might need guidance from you to see the experience right and understood as a family. It makes, if this makes sense at all. Yes, it does make sense. Experience is a good teacher. Remember that when you're in a support group, you share your experiences, but you just sharing it. And if somebody wants to try it for their own child, fine. But don't say, one thing I learned is don't say, oh, I did this for my child, so do this for yours and this will work. Just say, hey, I did this particular thing. It worked great for my child. Here's the information if you want to take a look at it, but always make like a sharing and not necessarily consulting or counseling somebody to actually do that. But yeah, experience is very, very good. I learned a lot of things that will help for Elijah based off the experiences that I learned from some of the moms that I trust. Any other questions or comments? So we'll just talk a little bit about how to create a community, which we kind of talked about. If you hear Elijah, sorry, he's in the next room. Community is a feeling. It's a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. You'll know that when you're part of a community, you feel that. You feel the love, you feel the peace, you feel the joy. You guys fellowship well together, you support one another. Even in our businesses and our other endeavors, some of our moms have businesses. We promote their business. They have events. We show up to their events. We have a woman who has a whole community garden. We may rally around and support and plant flowers in her garden. So that's what community does. It builds up one another, and we encourage one another. We're there to be a heart with ears for one another, and we care about each other's interests and goals. And we care, how can I support Pat on maybe something she's working on, and she does it for me. Same thing with Deb. If Deb is working on a project for the Empowerment Center, hey, how can I support you? That's what community does. So it's a feeling of that fellowship. And you can create that amongst whichever support group you decide to start, whether it's tangible, whether it's social, whether it's informational. It's all about the love that you give to the people that you service. It's the way that you serve them, the way you communicate and how you share. That's that feeling of community, feeling that you are a part. Let's see, right? You just feel and know you all feel supported from one another. Exactly. So you can create a community feeling in any of those aspects that you do. I mean, just you coming over to drop off Elijah's medicine for me, and just how you called me out of the blue, and you do that for me, whether it's on a regular basis or not. That's that feeling of fellowship. That's that caring about our interests and the goal of getting Elijah's medicine. So community is a feeling that you can create out of any one of these. Did somebody
Selena, can I add something too?
Sure.
I was going to say the community can include parents, but it also can include professionals too.
Yes.
It can include professionals who share the same vision and goal that you have for individuals with disabilities. And that community can also foster a team approach and help you to work as a team when you're working with your IEP or ISP.
Yes, thanks for bringing that up, Ms. Pat, because even like the community that I have for Elijah is also his school district. The team that we have that come together for Elijah's common interest, I consider them to be a part of our community, from the intervention specialist to his general ed teacher to CVEC, which is his work program. We all come together for the common goal of Elijah. They are a part of my community. Why? We share a common goal. That is Elijah making sure that he has what he needs to be successful in school and as he gets ready to approach adulthood. The same thing, the county board, Elijah sees a lot of doctors. So all of that is part of his community for him. So for him, he has his GI doctor. He has the neurologist, his regular pediatrician, his eye doctor. All of those people are a part of the community. They are a part of the team that helps to ensure that Elijah meets his goals. They are also my support. So when I need something, when I need to know something, when I need to run something past his teachers, they make themselves available. We have great conversation. We talk about what does and does not work for Elijah, and they do support me. The same thing for each one of Elijah's his specialists. I have great rapport and great communication with them. And again, it all goes back to the common interest, which is Elijah and myself, to get the tools and things that I need to be able to care for Elijah. So community can be a very large part of the body. So that you have the body of Christ, you have your teachers, you have your therapists. Those are all people that are a part of your community or your team. Anybody else have any questions or want to add to that? Do I see something in the chat? Tomorrow, I have a face-to-face meeting at my job. I'm basically explaining to them my concerns, but the goal for me is to speak up for myself and be my self-advocate, which I have been doing. I've been doing that for a while now, because my parents are not going to always be around. That is very good. That's very good, Taylor. And that's very important that you are developing your own community around yourself. And the fact that you are self-aware that it's true. We won't be around forever as parents. So it is important that we begin as a community, we try to work together to share resources on guardianship, share resources on services that are offered to adults, so that when Elijah gets to be an adult, Matthew, Patricia's son, is an adult right now, that they have the different services and supports that they'll need even after we're gone. So Taylor, that is very good that you are having these meetings, that you are self-advocating for yourself. That's amazing. You have your own community that you're building around yourself. So that's good. That's great. Anybody else want to add to that as far as your definition of community, or what you think a community should be or can be? Okay, so we'll talk a little bit more about empowering parents to be community connectors. So we talked about my start in a support group, just a small support group in a church that moved to be a community or a family that we learn together, we share, we encourage, we build each other's confidence. And now we're taking that and you move it to connecting out in the community. So we take, you start getting involved. Get involved in the disability community and local organizations that support families. So you start going to conferences in person, or you start going to things, let's just say if the Empowerment Center is having anything, you come there and you start meeting professionals, parents that are doing this work to support families, and you learn what do they offer families? What are some opportunities for you to maybe sit on their council as a parent and give that parent perspective of the life that we live. I know Patricia and I and Deb could probably say we sit on different boards, we sit on different community meetings, so that as parents, we are able to now come forth and say, hey, I work with parents. These are some of our struggles. These are some of the things that have worked for us. Here are some solutions to some community problems that we see, and we come from a perspective as a parent. So now, as you've started this group, and now that you've built up your parents, and now we come out and we're feeling strong and confident to be able to walk this walk, now we want to empower you to go do the same for somebody else. Take what you've learned, take what you've gathered through your support group experience, and go start a support group. Go and get involved in the community. I also say get involved by attend parent meetings and events at your child or children's school. So parent nights, any type of even basketball events, places where you can go at the school and meet other parents of children or adults with disabilities, and just start conversation. You never know what that does to a person, how that can change their entire life just with an encounter with you. Also get the resources. That's the main thing. You want to get what's going on with the IEP changing, any processes changing, anything's going on, so that you can take that back to your community, so that you can give your feedback. It's very important. And then lastly, and there's probably more, but we don't have time for everything, but create opportunities and spaces for families to build their confidence, learn and encourage one another. So again, that's creating your own support group. That's even maybe hosting a workshop. Maybe a support group is not the way you want to go, but maybe you want to create a space and bring people in that can educate and do a workshop for families and caregivers and Organizations in the community. That's where we're starting to expand to, as Patricia said. We've worked with the Cleveland Public Zoo. We're working with therapy professionals to now start getting involved and being more inclusive to caregivers and to families. But we do that by creating spaces to invite them. So then as parents, we can let them know what some of our needs are. And this is the place that you want to get to. This is how we evolve and grow, and also show an even bigger support to our community, as well as families and professionals. Are there any questions right now or comments? I'm not used to such a quiet crowd. I just hope that you all are getting something from this today, that it is helpful in any way. I'll make sure that if you want a copy of this PowerPoint, that Deb has it, she can send it to you. We'll also make sure that you have contact information for me if some of you feel comfortable with just having a side conversation on any thoughts that you may have. Let's see what we got in the chat. Vanessa, thank you for this rich conversation. You're welcome. Thank you for participating. If there's any information that you need, feel free to contact Deb, and Deb will give you my information. And I love to walk with people. So what I mean is I love to walk side by side with people who may be interested in doing this or know somebody that's interested. Taylor, yes, it is. I was thinking, sorry, I was quiet when I'm thinking. That's fine. Thank you for your thought. No problem, Taylor, no problem. And I know that's the end of the PowerPoint piece.
So I have a question for you, and you can keep doing what you're doing there. Sometimes professionals do not know the needs of a parent, and maybe they don't even know the right questions to ask. And so by providing that community, and setting some goals, that's what you want to see happening. There's power in numbers, and that's always the truth. And so I think sometimes I would always suggest someone to go to a support group to see if you like the way it's set up, or to see, I want to do this. Oh no, I really don't want to do that. Sometimes you have to put yourself in the midst of that. So if you have that opportunity to do that, what I love about your community that you've built up in Cleveland is just so many things. First of all, wonderful people and friends. But what I see is that support that you give people to encourage them to take those steps. A lot of times parents are so involved with their child with disability and what's going on that they almost lose themselves as well. And so, a tangible outreach could be, let's say that family's been looking at that living room paint that's been needed to be repainted for 20 years. Maybe a small group in church would come over and just paint that for them. Basic things that they don't have to be these grandiose kind of thing. One thing I do want to encourage you guys to look at is Starfire Council in Cincinnati. Starfire was an adult day program, but they have a new direction, and their Facebook page, Starfire Council, they have community design meetings, and they also have what they call story hour. So story hour, what they do is they come alongside a person with a disability or a family member who has a dream they want to do, and they coach them towards that dream. So to give you an example, one lady said, well, they asked her, what do you want to do? She said, I don't know my neighbors. So they suggested a block party. So what do you have to get together to do a block party? And so they coached her through the process, going to meet their neighbors, say, hey, this is what I want to do. Do you want to be a part of it? How do you want to be a part of it? And before long, they had the block party. But what was really cool about it is that it wasn't John's block party. it was just a block party. So the focus wasn't on her son, John, and his disability. So sometimes we just have to support people in those kind of things, just like the gardening. I had the backyard of the Garden of Eden after the fall. And I would love to have someone who is good at gardening. But, identifying their talents and their assets aside from being a parent, sometimes we just need to have something else to rejuvenate us and to spark that creativity that's in us. So I just want to say that I'll send that information in the email at the end of this session. Does anyone have any questions or comments? You can unmute yourself.
And that's good, Deb. Just to go back is, you're right. As parents, we sometimes get lost and feel as though our only purpose is to raise our child, adult, or care for a loved one with a disability, and that life is over. And I can tell you that that is not the case at all. And you can see by what I do, what Deb does. If you get to know Patricia, what she does, and so many other parents, we still have our purpose in life that God gives us. And we still make room and make time. Now that's a whole nother segment. You can call us about it. We'll talk you through, but life does not end just because you become a caregiver. There's definitely ways. One thing I know we all say is our journey is unique. And so we have to do out of the box, unique ways to be able to live the lives that God created us to. And he gives us those ways. So for instance, if you want to write a book with 2 other women, like we did, you write when they go to sleep, you write if they take a nap, you write whenever you at 30 minutes on your lunch break. You have to think of unique and creative ways to still be able to accomplish your goal. I'll tell you something that's very transparent, but just to let you know, it took me almost 20 years to get a degree. 20 years to get an associate's degree. I was in and out of school as a single mom, as Elijah being in and out of the hospital, and him having his different medical conditions on top of the autism and just life happening. I would start, I would have to stop. I would have to go to work full time, I would have to stop. But the one thing that I can tell you is that I never gave up, and I still haven't given up to this day. And it took me almost 20 years off and on, just to get an associate's degree. So it's never too late. There is no dead end. There is no, oh my God, my life is over. If you truly want to pursue your purpose, or for one, seek the Lord. Elijah says hi, if you can hear him in the next room. So you seek God, and he will give you the plans, the path that you need. And then again, having a community of women like I have, they definitely teach me out of box thinking all the time, and we share that information. So yeah, that's good, Deb, because you're absolutely right. We do get so caught up in the caregiving that we lose who we are in the process.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? I see that people are on Facebook chatting and saying hello. A couple of parents, Gail, she actually is the ministry leader of inclusion ministry at St. Timothy Missionary Baptist Church. They are doing amazing things over there. They have an online service once a month for children and adults with disabilities that Ms. Gail and her team lead. There's so many wonderful things that are happening in the community, and we are here to offer support, education, and resources to anyone that is interested in getting started with a support group, or any organizations that are looking to become inclusive. We do have the M2M Community Inclusion Council. And like I said, we work with the zoo. We've worked with working with Hope Behavioral Health to work on support services for caregivers and parents, mental health support. So we are also here to offer you as businesses and organizations the same type of support.
Well, Selena, I can't thank you enough for being a part of this and making this happen. I just wish there was someone like you down here. I'm hoping that maybe someone will be stirred with, you know, a little spark that's willing to talk and not be afraid.
I love to drive.
Both of us like to brainstorm. I mean, that's the best part, is dreaming and brainstorming. And, you know, with disability, you know, flexibility is key.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I do want to let everybody know that with the Center for Disability Empowerment, we have several webinars coming up. We have one on extremely low income housing for people with disabilities on May 17th. And we have one program that actually covers 38 counties in the state, and that's Ohio 811. So if you're looking for that kind of help, I'm very excited to say we're going to do an adult sibling panel, and that panel discussion will be about how to prepare for your future if your parents have not told you their plans regarding their sib with special needs. Many times that conversation is not held for whether fear or no one wants to talk about it, but that is something that we will be doing. Also, I encourage everyone, if they haven't had a chance to think about their future plans for their child with disabilities, it's something that you want to look into. I'm hoping to figure out how we can get attorneys not to charge so much for setting up special needs trust and that kind of thing. There's got to be some kind of payment plan, because a lot of people probably are not doing it because of finances. So I think we have a hand raised on the phone. Please
No,
unmute yourself.
He was already, is that Michael? I think Michael had already had his hand raised for a while when he asked his first question. Unless he has another question. We're always open for that.
Yeah,
I did put my information in the chat so that you can copy and paste it, our Facebook, Instagram, website information.
Yeah, and what I'll plan to do tomorrow is create this information that we've been given today. And I will be editing this recording. There was a little mishap. We lost connection for a moment. Hopefully we didn't impact your viewing. And I will list those different resources that are coming to see if you might be interested on that. So again, Selena, and to all of you who participated in this is a very important topic, and more people need to know about it. So thank you so much for your heart, your time, your ups and downs, and my love to all you in Cleveland. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb.
Night.